was born on September 17, 1907, where he grew up on the outskirts of St. Paul, Minnesota, in a lower-middle-class family as the fourth child of 7 children to Charles Joseph Berger, who was a railroad cargo inspector, and to housewife Catherine Berger. As a child, Warren was burdened by his family's low economic status, whereas a third grader he contributed to his family by being a paper boy giving out newspapers in his local neighborhood. His interest in law began in 4th grade, where he contracted an illness that made him miss school for 1 year. During the time of his illness, he read many books about law and historical American figures. He later died in Washington, D.C. on June 25, 1995. As an adolescent, he attained many achievements at John A. Johnson High School by participating in sports such as hockey, football, track, and swimming. He also was named president of the school's student council and often wrote articles on school sports before graduation. After high school, he took evening classes at the University of Minnesota while working for an insurance company. Later on, he graduated with honors at St. Paul College of Law, where after he joined the St. Paul law firm specializing in corporate and real estate law. Following graduation, Berger pursued Republican politics as he was active in governor campaigns. His pursuit of Republican politics was highlighted at his attendance at the Republican National Convention, where he played a key role in nomination of Dwight D. Eisenhower for president. It was until then he was appointed by President Richard Nixon as Chief Justice because of his public speeches criticizing that courts are in favor of criminals. As Chief Justice, he had presided over cases such as Miranda versus Arizona, Gideon versus Wainwright, and Mapp versus Ohio. Warren Berger was the 15th Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and he was the longest-serving Chief Justice in Supreme Court's history.
The case of Dennis versus the United States originated in 1948 during the Second Red Scare in the Cold War, where tensions were high over the fear of communism influencing the United States government and society. The case had begun with 11 high-ranking members of the American Communist Party convicted for violating the Smith Act in 1948, an act established in 1940 that made it a criminal offense to knowingly or willfully advocate or teach overthrowing the government of the United States. The secretary of the group, Eugene Dennis, argued that they committed no crime as their meetings only have discussions surrounding the topic of communism. The conviction was upheld by lower courts, despite the fact that no evidence existed that Dennis and his colleagues had encouraged any of their followers to commit specific violent acts, and was appealed to the Supreme Court, which agreed to hear the case. The case would question limitations of the First Amendment's freedom of speech in a time with tensions around the topic of communism, as the Cold War was an issue that worried American citizens. In the 9-month trial, Dennis continually argued that his First Amendment rights was being violated, where he stated that they should have the right to discuss freely on the American Communist Society's beliefs. However, the court found that in organizing the Communist Party, the defendants presented a clear and present danger to the government's interest in preserving itself by preventing a violent overthrow. The courts also state that Communist Party members were ready to make an attempt to overthrow the government, and there were inflammable nature of world conditions and related uprising in other countries. The decision made in the end in Supreme Court was made on June 4, 1951. The decision founded the American Communist Party's board members guilty under violating the Smith Act. Furthermore, the decision under Dennis versus the United States declared it unlawful and a criminal offense under the Smith Act to be a part of the promotion and advocacy to overthrow the American government or be a part of a formulated group dedicated to advocating the overthrowing of the American government.